Happy Wisdom Wednesday, everyone. So recently, especially from my healthcare and medtech followers, I've been getting a lot of questions about a good book to explain sort of the, business and state of medicine. Now, there's a lot of books out there. I'm not crazy about all of them, but I came across this one, and I have to be honest, the title of it first caught my eye. And then when I realized that the author, Dr. Halee Fischer, Wright, is the president of the Medical Group Management Association, a fantastic organization that helps a lot of practice managers, private practice owners. So when I realized that she wrote this book, I said, it might be worth taking a look at. And so when I read some of the reviews and checked the contents of the book online, I said, this might be worth buying. So I went in and got it, and I actually got through it rather quickly. It's a fantastic book, and for a few specific reasons. And I want to share those reasons real quick, and then sort of give you some of my favorite highlights from the book. Now, the reason why it's a good book, one is that it's written by a physician. Most of the time when physicians write, they write in a very sort of conservative, like they're writing in a medical. Now, what I love about Dr. Fischer Wright's, I don't know if it's Fischer Wright or Wright, I'm going to go with Dr. Fischer Wright. So what I love about Dr. Fischer Wright's book here is that she does what every great physician and scientist does, which is she pulls from really good resources, good data and research, but she compiles it in a way that's not boring, and she writes using her own voice, meaning that I can actually hear her telling me these stories. She has an incredibly hilarious humor to her. She doesn't hold back, so she has that kind of like very witty humor and uses a lot of fantastic analogies, such as like pulling stories from Jurassic Park, how Michael Crichton met Steven Spielberg. A lot of really interesting stories. So you actually get some really interesting backstories to Hollywood or history and everything as she relates it to the story she's trying to tell. Plus, she pulls in her own personal accounts, whether it was her dealing with patients as a physician or even her own family members. So the book essentially weaves together in a very interesting way exactly what she's trying to get at, which is to get back to balance, which is the title of the book, the art, science, and business of medicine. She actually brings her own version of art, her own version of science, and her own business savvy to make the points in this book. And so she asks 3 specific questions in this book and then presents 5 paradigm shifts that, in her opinion, will help fix and get medicine back into balance. And let me go through some of those paradigms with you. She focuses on a variety of different things in medicine, such as the complexities of EHRs and how physicians are getting essentially slaving away doing data entry just to make sure a patient fits within a box, or the fact that they're given less and less time with patients, right? And a lot of times there's this art of medicine that's being lost. And so the paradigm shifts to get back to balance are these: going from money as an incentive to time as an incentive, going from more complexity to more simplicity, from more metrics to more relationships, from process-driven to outcome-driven, and from zero-sum, I win, you lose, to non-zero-sum, we all win. And I think what I like about this book so much is that we live in a world where everything is just all about the data, like data this, data that. And I think data is really important, but data should be a supplement to what we're doing and not a replacement. And, her big thing about medicine these days is that the art of medicine is essentially being wedged out by this entire focus and obsession with science being the data and the digitalization of everything, and the business of medicine, which is, hey, like, how do we get things more efficient, more time focused? And so the art of medicine is being left outside. And so she ends the book in a fantastic way, in an analogy that I absolutely love, and this is it. Now, at the very end of the book, she tells a story of what you can see here, which is the rod of Asclepius and the caduceus, right? So many of us have come to know the caduceus, this symbol right here, or the 2 snakes around a staff with wings, to be the symbol of medicine. But in fact, that is incorrect, because this symbol was actually one that had to do with a passage to the underworld and merchants and thievery. And the real symbol for medicine is the rod of Asclepius, right? And so she writes, that there should be a proposal, because essentially the rod of Asclepius, long story short, was, Asclepius was walking along the path, saw a snake, hit it, and then saw another snake, bring it herbs, and revive the snake back to life. So that's where he dedicated his life as a physician to healing, right? Versus the Caduceus, it was two snakes, fighting each other, and essentially Hermes took the staff and put it between the two snakes, something like that. But the point is that she ends the book in such an artistic and incredibly creative way, and this is what she writes. She said, here's her modest proposal about the symbol of medicine, how we should start looking at this symbol, even though it's a misnomer, this is the wrong symbol of medicine, but this is not what we all got used to. She said, if the Caduceus of Hermes is going to guide us forward, it might be useful to think about it in a new way. Let's call it the triad of the Caduceus. I choose to see the golden rod, the foundation of the symbol, as the science of medicine. The snake that coils to the left as the art of medicine, and the snake that coils to the right as the business of medicine. It represents both the aspiration and the ideal of medicine, all three in balance, the art, science, and business of medicine, ready to help those wings take flight. And I gotta tell you, I've read, obviously, a lot of books with fantastic conclusions, and a lot of them with terrible conclusions. That by itself makes the book worth it. So, extremely good book. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm happy to see that there are still physicians out there that know how to write an extremely complicated topic, bring it down to earth, and really delight and surprise the audience. So, highly recommended. Go out and get it. So, that's your book of the week. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. And as always, I'll see you next week. Be good. Bye for now.